Hey everyone, it's Adrian from Pew Pew Podcast. I'm here with Kayden from the basement, which is a live room escape experience here in Sylmar. We just finished it up. Wanted to get an interview. How did this idea for this happen? Or actually, let's start on maybe what exactly the basement is for those that maybe escaping a room isn't enough information. What exactly is a basement?
Okay, so basically it's an escape room. The whole concept and genre of escape rooms originated in Hungary and Budapest and different parts of the world. And basically what it is you go into a room. Usually they all have their own little story and theme as to why you're in the room. And you have to use clues and keys and trapdoors and stuff like that in order to figure out how to get back out through the door you came in through.
Okay,
Yeah.
And how did you decide that you wanted to start one of these here, basically?
Well, I played a ton of those flash games and apps on the phone and stuff like that, and they're extremely addicting, really, really fun. And then I actually ended up going to one in America, in another part of the country, and it was super fun, but I've worked in haunted houses ever since I moved to LA. For the last 6 years, I've worked at all the different haunted houses, Universal Studios, Knott's, Haunted Hayride, the first year they did it.
Oh, nice.
And so I'm really into haunted houses and horror movies. So I did this one in another part of the country, and it was so fun, so exciting, but there was no production value, and it was just the puzzles, and that was still awesome. Like, I really loved it. So I thought, if I mix this with a haunted house-ish vibe and a horror vibe, it'll just be that much more exciting and immersive. Like, I didn't feel immersed in the story of this one I went to, and I thought it was really missing that, and it would add a lot of adrenaline and stuff. So does that answer your question?
No, absolutely.
Okay, cool.
It's funny you mentioned the immersion. It's really cool because I have to agree with you. You feel the settings that you guys have done. Mm-hmm. It's really cool because it feels very real. How long did it take you to set up this entire thing?
Okay, so I said I went to that other one, mm-hmm. and it was on kind of a vacation, and I came back, and I was actually really hungover, and I had this, I was on a bus coming back from where this was, and I started thinking, I should do this, and literally that night, I got home at 3 a.m., and I stayed up the entire night. I had to work my day job the next day at 9 a.m. I stayed up the whole night with like an 11 by 17 sheet of paper drawing what this would be, and thinking up the story. I basically came up with the majority of the whole thing in one evening. And then from then I contacted a friend of mine he has a construction company, and it took about 2 months from that night till when this thing was completely built. Yeah.
Awesome. Why the location, Sylmar? Why so far out? We drove out from Echo Park. That was a bit of a drive, but all we keep hearing is that it's definitely worth it, and it was. Mm-hmm. Why pick something so
shady?
Yeah.
There is another escape room in LA downtown. It's great. They have a different focus. I think it's great by itself, but it's just kind of different than this one. But when we went, the location's weird. You're downtown. You're in a weird area, and it gives you a little sense of not being completely safe where you are. Mm-hmm. So I love that. We went in with the right mindset, with that being where it was. So I was like, let's find an area where people are definitely going to consider maybe this is like Taken, and I'm going to go in there and they're going to sell me to a Persian king or something like that. And then we found this warehouse, and I actually had a friend who owned the building, and so we came and looked, and we're like, this is perfect.
It's really cool. We actually took a wrong turn coming over here, and we were like passing by a trailer park where it was like barely lit, and I was like, and then honestly, at inside I was like, I don't know about where we're at currently.
Are we gonna get murdered?
It's a good location. It's awesome.
Yeah.
Now, as far as difficulty, what is a lot of our listeners are gamers. Mm-hmm. How difficult would you say this is?
Well, we have an 8.09%. I don't know if you can get that success rate. So out of about 130 teams that we've had come through since we opened, 12 of them now, I think it's 12, have actually gotten through. So it's very difficult. Like I said, the ones in Hungary and Budapest and the other parts of the country, they're really hard. Mm-hmm. And that's so that when you do get out, or if you do get out, it's a huge bragging right. It actually means something. A lot of the other ones I've seen in America, they're way easier. Like, it seems like most teams actually end up succeeding. I feel like there's not a lot to that. You don't really feel like you've achieved anything if you know everyone does it.
Right.
Yeah.
Before this interview, we were actually discussing creepypasta, some of these apps, and obviously when I was told about this, it was described to me kind of, do you know those old point and click PC games you're trying to get out of a room? It's that, but it's in real life. What are some of the things you name a couple of games or some of the apps you play that really were inspirational for you, maybe when you were doing this?
I mean, I'm a huge Resident Evil fan.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, I would describe this as Resident Evil without zombies, pretty much.
Right.
A more realistic setting with like a serial killer rather than zombies. But I loved Resident Evil. I mean, I remember that game, Myst.
Oh yeah,
that was awesome. Like, that was pretty similar to this.
Yeah,
except going through all this weird. Myst was cool. I played that when I was really young. There's a game called Can You Escape? There's a whole series of iPhone games that are these called Can You Escape? I really love those. They're really simple but really awesome at the same time. Silent Hill, a little more action than anything, but it was still puzzle based. Zelda.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, you can get some vibes off of it, for sure.
Some simple puzzles. Yeah.
Cool.
I think that's.
What about now the thing that threw me off, and I'm actually really excited about, is I came here under the impression that this was only a kind of a Halloween thing. I thought most of these other events are kind of closing up like November 5th or something like that. You guys are actually year-round.
Year-round. Yes, we'll be here forever, as far as I'm concerned.
And I think that's awesome. That said, you must have some future plans for this.
Yes, tons. Basically, we've told everybody that every 2 months or so we're going to do not a full overhaul, but a partial overhaul to this room so that you can come back and get a semi-new experience. We're definitely going to theme it for holidays and try to stay as not silly as possible. Like for Christmas and stuff, there will be different elements of the holidays. And then, so every 2 months we'll do a change up on this room. And then in about 4 months, we're planning to build a second entire room of different difficulty, but that'll be a continuation of this storyline with Edward and him being a cannibal and all that. You'll just escape to a different part of his house and have to escape that room. And then in a little less time, we're actually almost finished designing it. We have a small room we're building for only 1 to 2 people at a time, and it's based on claustrophobia and it being pitch black.
That sounds
a lot more intense. Yeah,
that's awesome. So where can people purchase tickets for this? Where can they find out more information?
Okay, the website is www.thebasementla.com. Definitely search us on Yelp. You'll find some good stuff. And I mean, we have a Facebook, we have a Twitter, we have all that stuff, but you can find all that by going to the website.
Cool.
thebasementla.com.
Awesome. Well, that's the basement here in Basement LA. Thank you so much for this for the time.
Absolutely.
It's an amazing experience. Definitely check it out if you guys are in the LA area, because it's really, really fun. I think that's it.
Right.
This is Adrian from Pew Pew Podcast. Thanks again to the Basement. I'll talk to you soon.
All right, thanks.